Hi and welcome back. Today we're going to talk about positive space in a work of art, and it's defined as the area or part of an artwork's composition that the subject of the artwork occupies. So in this case, I have all these scraps of paper bag that I've cut, and if I were to glue these scraps down and maybe pretend that they are buildings, the positive space would be the brown shapes that are created by the bag scraps, and then the negative space is defined as the white space that is in between, and you play with that space by moving objects closer or farther away. Now, I won't be creating a cityscape out of scraps, but what we'll be doing is using scraps to create a more complex composition with just scissors and any kind of glue that you have to create an image that uses positive and negative space. So before we get started, the materials that you need, or the materials that I'm using, are a piece of brown paper that I cut from a bag that I got in my recycling, and I've cut it so that it fits on half of my white paper that I folded hamburger style. So if you have any kind of white paper, cut it to a rectangular shape, and then cut your other colored paper, and it doesn't really matter what color it is, whatever you can get your hands on, but cut it so that it fits on one half of your white paper. And then you'll need a glue stick or any kind of glue, and then just some scissors. You don't even need a pencil to draw for this project. And what I'll be doing essentially is I will be cutting a large diamond shape and then flipping it and cutting pieces and flipping back and forth to create a complex design that uses positive and negative space. So the first thing I'm going to do is think about the first shape that I want to cut. So I'm going to cut a pretty large triangle out of my paper. So now I have this piece that when I remove it creates a new negative space on this half of the paper, and then when I flip it, it creates a new positive space on the other half of the paper. Notice how I'm not gluing anything down just yet. What I'd like to do is get all my pieces how I'd like them, and then I'll start gluing them down on the composition. So as you can see, even without gluing it down, I've created a composition that incorporates brown positive spaces and white negative spaces. And now that I've cut all the shapes out as I like them, I'll begin carefully gluing them down and keeping them aligned along the middle crease of the paper so that my composition is neat and organized. So if you have a glue stick, remember when we're using our glue sticks, we want to go all the way around the outside of the shape we're gluing. And then a little bit in the empty, bigger areas. And then carefully lining up those spaces right along the middle of my paper. And this gets a little tricky with the first one, but once you have that first one set, everything else kind of falls right into place. And as you can see, my shapes are getting somewhat disorganized, but that's okay because I still know the biggest ones You kind of go in order from biggest to smallest. So I'll line up this next one. Notice I'm always checking the orientation once my shape's got a little disorganized because I don't want to glue it upside down on accident. And then once you've got all your shapes glued down, take a moment to make sure corners are glued down neatly and carefully so that you don't have anything sticking up. And there you have it. Using just found paper bag and a white sheet of paper and a glue stick and some scissors, I was able to create sort of an interesting visual composition by just cutting out and flipping and playing with the positive and negative space of some simple shapes. Thanks for joining me, and until next time, keep creating. Bye.